Hello and welcome to Iceland. My name is Gylfi and my job is to fly over our island to capture interesting moments from our nature. And this video is mainly about some of my mishaps and mistakes captured on film. And I'm hoping that it will be helpful, especially for new drone pilots, because there is lots to learn from my mistakes. And this video will also include some of the tours that went as planned, but my problem number one was that I didn't buy a suitable drone. And I got myself a second-hand drone because I was not willing to spend too much when my channel was very young. And my first drone was a Mavic 2 with tired batteries, and this is me waiting for it to come back after a short and frustrating trip, which revealed that I could not trust the drone to return home safely. But I was, however, able to return the drone to the seller. And then I did a good market check before I decided to buy the DJI Air 2S model, which was a new model back then, and the first foldable drone with the range and image quality that you generally get today. And that model is still a fantastic drone. And the channel took off as well because I was able to provide my viewers with the preferred angles from the volcanic eruptions that have been occurring here in Iceland quite frequently. And my next problem was about to format my own hard disk with information that a drone is not a fixed wing aircraft that needs attention all the time. And panic control with a drone is often about to let go of the controls because that stops the drone. And it's logical to assume that after we take off, we have to land again, usually within 20 minutes. But I had the tendency early on to forget about that part while I was launching the drone, often from my hand, and often while I was sitting in the car, since I've always been very concerned about dust getting on my lenses. So I never take off from dusty spots. But there are moments when I might have stopped the car where it's impossible to land, maybe on a gravel road. And this was a failed attempt to land on the hood of my car. And this time I was on a narrow trail with tall grass, getting a bit stressed and losing the control while the wind is pushing the drone around. So this was the first problem I ran into. Let go of the controls when you don't have the control. And the reason for panic is not just a lack of flight experience. It can be about knowing our drones, because this is what happened when I found myself in snowfall during a little sightseeing tour. The conditions were excellent when I took off, but this is Iceland. And if I would find myself in weather conditions like this today, I would get stressed only if I couldn't find a good frame rate setting for the snow or something to capture it nicely. But this time, my first time in snow up there, I went straight into panic mode, so I had literally no idea about what I was doing. But lucky me, this only costed me one set of propellers and the drone was good as new. And this made me go after information about what the drone could handle or not. Both the official information, and I was also looking at what the other pilots had been testing out, because bad weather, it can actually provide good footage from time to time. And I started to trust the drone more, and that's where things got a bit expensive. There was a Christmas video shot that I wanted to do in the local cemetery, and I was thinking about the thousands of flickering candles and other lights that we see during Christmas. And this year, we got a very special bonus weather feature, or moisture and cold, leaving us with ice crystals all around. So I had a good time filming, and after it got dark, I did the ultimate low light test. And I was also trying to find the sweet spot as for the best settings to prevent the low light noise. And during a late night trip, when there was very few people around, and while I was framing my shot, I flew up to the cloud ceiling for only a few seconds. And what happened next was that I lost the motor, and the drone dropped into the cemetery, where it surely belonged after it likely hit a headstone, because what I found there was a big mess. So I called DJI in Reykjavik, and they told me, we can fix anything. The drone will be replaced and you only pay for the damaged parts. So I felt a bit better and sent the drone to the city. And the day after, DJI called me back and they said, how was this possible? You even broke the mainboard deep within the drone. Wasn't insured. So this was a major bummer, but the memory card was okay. And then I learned it from the guys at DJI Iceland that moisture and ice conditions are the worst conditions you can find for a drone. And they simply told me that if you fly a drone like I had into a cloud like this, it will shut down the motors very fast without any warning or announcement. So this lesson was expensive. And weather can actually become a factor indoors as well, because shortly after my graveyard drone was replaced by DJI, I was doing a commercial photo shoot in a fish factory and decided to cut corners and fly between two workstations to save some time. And that's when a gust of wind from open doors tossed the drone into a wall. But lucky me, just new propellers, and it was good as new. And this was unexpected but simple mistake. I had the drone in sports mode that by default turns off the obstacle sensors. So this could be blamed on me being a bit lazy, because I just should have landed the drone and walked with it to the next workstation. And overall, the Air 2S, it turned out to be a great drone for me. And it set the tone for the next model I picked. That was the Air 3. And by that time, I was getting more serious about this. My channel was growing fast. And when I had a little gimbal problems in my Air 2S during a Highland tour, likely due to dust, I decided to have always a spare drone. So I bought the Air 3 while my Air 2S was fixed, but it didn't start well with the S3. I picked it up in the store in Reykjavik, and the first hole in the Swiss cheese model became clear when I left the city without knowing if my car charger would work for the new drone. I was of course filming on the way back to North Iceland, and on that way I drove by this lava spire that I had dreamed about filming for a long time. And it's a task that my old drone didn't handle. And when I arrived, I had only somewhere around 30% charge on one battery left. But that wasn't stopping me. I knew I had to just do a short tour, just to have a little look around. And this was also a chance to come back with low light footage, just to see how it would come out in post. So this tour was simple. I just flew straight up, and it didn't take long until the drone started to tell me to return. And that is what I did. But I wanted to use every second from this short trip, so I kept the camera on while I was flying back almost straight down. And the mistake this time was not about me flying backwards and downwards. It's a common practice while filming, but only when we know where we are and how fast we are going. And with this new drone, I wasn't thinking about how much faster it was. I was just looking at my wonderful new remote and the gorgeous lava spire, thinking about the brilliant videos I would show to my viewers someday. And furthermore, the S3 model had two cameras. It had a zoom camera, and that is the camera that I had on when I flew the drone straight into the ground at full speed. The zoom camera is what it is. I believed I was higher up, and the drone was in sports mode, so again, the obstacle sensors were off. And this time I was angry. I just unboxed this drone, and to find the drone was the next problem I had to deal with. And there we have something that all drone pilots should learn, because when we lose our drones, we are usually not in the mood to go browsing through YouTube videos in order to learn how to use the search function. But the main reason for this crash was, of course, that I was being impulsive and excited little boy with a new toy. And after some hiking, I found a drone with a broken leg and a loose camera gimbal, so this could have been worse. And the guys in DJI Reykjavik, they were getting to know me by then, and they fixed it, of course. And I did actually crash the Air 3 again a few months later. I don't have footage from that incident, but it occurred when I was showing the drone to friends. And while landing, I flew it into narrow balconies instead of walking 20 meters and landed at a safe location. So that was what I call frustrating lazy mistake. And as usual, the DJI guys got the drone in the mail, and shortly thereafter I was in Reykjavík, so I picked up the drone with the new Air 3S model. And I could buy that drone without the charging unit and the extra batteries. So this was an economical and sensible upgrade, since I got a larger sensor in the new model, and that meant way less time in post-production, especially when it comes to low-light noise removal. So the Air 3 model became my spare drone, and I could list my 2S model for sale. And by that time, I was investing as much as I could in tours to acquire footage. And one of my most important tours last summer was to film inside a giant caldera, where yet another incident occurred. And this was during a challenging day, overcast most of the time, but sometimes little spots of light. And I was also filming this caldera from the hood of my car and linking to the videos I shot during this tour. That was very busy. And this clip is me on the way back. The drone is using my last fully charged drone battery, while the others were in the charger. And this sequence started with me filming myself dealing with the trail. And since I knew that I would not return there for the next 12 months at least, I wanted to have the drone ready if the sunlight would put on a show. And that turned out to be the case. So I parked the car and started to do my things. And when I got the low battery warning, I looked at this canyon between me and my car, and I got the idea to do a low pass there because the colors were popping big time. And I still had some juice on the battery to do this detour, just to get as much footage as I possibly could. And after I flew down to this canyon, like a hungry eagle, I noticed more natural goodies. So I made this canyon detour just a little bit longer and deeper, and the hill between me and my car and the remote started to block the signal. That was no problem, of course. So I just waited there for the drone to return with a stuffed memory card. But that never happened. So after a while, I took off with the remote, with the Find My Drone function on, chasing those arrows on the screen, and after 20 minutes, my remote ran out of battery for the first and only time. So I started to walk back to the car to pick up a power bank to keep the remote going. And just before I arrived to the car, I realized that when the drone decided to fly home, it was not going to fly home to my car where it was. His home was the location where it took off. So it locked the GPS location as home, where I was filming myself in the Jeep. And due to the hill, it never came back into contact with the remote on the way back. But it did, however, keep on filming. The drone landed in the middle of the trail. And although there wasn't much traffic there, I knew of several other cars around. So the chances of someone finding the drone before me were significant. And of course, there was always the possibility that someone would just take the drone or drive over it. Because there he is, sitting and waiting for me, even recording long enough a video for a time-lapse. And it did actually turn out that someone found the drone before me. The lights were blinking on the road, so thanks to this guy, he removed it from the road, where the people in the next car after him could enjoy it for a while. But lucky me, again, they let it be until I arrived a while later, since while the drone was filming time-lapses and tourists, I was just hiking, and I was very glad to get it back. One of my biggest worries was the memory card because it was full of goodies from different Highland locations that day. And one of the tips that I bring back is that it's a good idea to transfer data frequently. And in this case, I would have lost lots of footage from Landamannalaugar if someone would have stolen the drone. And overall, this incident left me with quite many tips. Know how your filming gear behaves. But I know even better how I behave. And when I see something nice and I get stuck in filming, I tend to forget pretty much everything else while keeping everything in focus. And now in 2025, I have logged quite many flight hours. So those incidents since 2021 are not a big deal to me when I look at the film collection I have. And when a new Mavic 4 Pro came to the market recently, I was of course one of the first buyers. And I want to make it clear that I'm not sponsored by DJI in any way. It just so happens that I use a lot of their products. So like most of us, I just paid the price and bought an insurance this time because it wasn't cheap and I will be using it a lot. And I hope I won't have any incidents with it. And what I want this video to say to new drone pilots is make a checklist. Because not only are we controlling a flying machine, the camera and the framing needs attention as well. So drone flying requires a lot of concentration. And as for the viewers who are here for videos and such, I hope you enjoyed the show. It's much more to come because my journey just started, finally with professional gear. So thanks for stopping by on my channel. And with that, I'm sending you best regards from the volcano island, Iceland.